face, one brand on bareMinerals. Super excited about this one. I feel like bareMinerals is a very underrated brand. It used to be very big back in the day, especially for those of us with acne. So if you're interested in seeing how this look turns out and how I like all of the products, then just keep on watching. So shockingly, I do not have a primer for today's video. I know that those of you who watch me very consistently know that primer is my absolute favorite product to apply. Don't ask me why, I just love primers. I have 3 full drawers dedicated to primers in my collection, but unfortunately I was shopping around bareMinerals. I looked online and I looked in store, and there just wasn't a primer that really seemed like it would work well with my skin and that I was super interested in. So with that said, I do not have a primer for today. So the first product that we are going to go in with is the bareMinerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream, and this has SPF 30, which is awesome, and mine is in the shade Vanilla 02. I always go in with my Real Techniques beauty sponge, so that is what I'm going to be doing today. Unfortunately, I don't have a concealer from the brand. I swatched every concealer that they have and they all just seemed a little bit too dark for me. I didn't want to mess up the whole look with a too dark concealer, and I don't think I could skip on concealer today. We have so many spots, and this Complexion Rescue Tinted Gel Cream isn't super full coverage. That is what it looks like there, so you can see that it's a thicker gel consistency. As I said, it's not running, it's staying there, thicker gel, and that does make it a little bit more moisturizing, which I love, because if you don't know, I have very dry but more so dehydrated skin. So my skin is very dehydrated and it will get a little oily, and then it is obviously acne prone, so I love a more hydrating formula. And we, depending on the coverage, we might go in with 2 layers of this. Just, I don't know, I want to get as much coverage as I can with this because of all of my acne right now. I'm not sure why I'm breaking out this much, but it is what it is. So I'm going to take my Real Techniques beauty sponge and I'm just going to blend this, pounce this into the skin. And as I said, I'll probably do 1 layer and then go in with a little bit more just to see if we can build it up. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more of this, and I'm going to focus this second layer mostly on my cheeks. Now that we got as much coverage as I could from that Complexion Rescue, we are going to go in with the CoverGirl concealer, and I'm going to apply this everywhere I have my breakouts and then under my eyes as well. But I'm just going to fast forward through this, not really talk through any of it because this isn't a bareMinerals product. So this is how we are looking with the concealer blended out. Obviously that completely changes the complexion. It gives a ton more coverage, which I definitely needed. I've been really liking that concealer. And now, as I said, we are going in with a pretty full coverage powder on top, which will just give us that much more coverage. We'll smooth everything over and make it really nice and matte so that we can go in with our bronzers, highlight, and blush. You guys know that I absolutely love a good powder foundation. I'm obsessed with the MAC Studio Fix powder foundation in NC10, and I thought this might be a really good dupe. Not that it's any cheaper, but just a nice alternative to have if for whatever reason the MAC powder doesn't work for you. This is the Performance Wear Foundation powder foundation in Fair 01, so this is their lightest shade, of course, because I'm so pale, and this is my MAC NC15, and this is the bareMinerals one, so they look very similar in color and in undertone, so I'm super excited about this. I've never tried their pressed powders. I've only ever tried their mineral foundation powder, and I really do like that as well. But for the sake of the video, I just wanted to try something different. I've been really into pressed powders lately, so I decided to pick this one up, and I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. Ultimate blending brush and just buff this into the skin, add that more coverage that I'm wanting. We're not going to bake under the eyes. We're not going to do any of that today. Press it into the skin, not really buff it, because buffing can take away a little bit of coverage. We're going to press it to build it up and make it very seamless and airbrush looking. That looks really nice. It's a really good color match for me. Press it under the eyes. So this is how we look with the Complexion Rescue concealer and then the Bare Pro Performance Wear Powder Foundation in Fair 01. This looks incredible. I feel like wouldn't even be able to tell that I have bad skin, acne skin. It just smooths everything out, especially on my cheeks where I have that extra acne pigmentation. Can't really tell. It looks very smooth. That's a really nice color for me. Yes, it's pale, but I am pale, so trust me, it matches all around. I'm super impressed with that. I have very high standards for powder foundations because I love my MAC one so much. I might be loving this. It'll be really interesting to see how it works with like nothing else, just going in with this, because I love doing that for a daily basis for work. Okay, so now I have my brows on, feeling more shapely, got some more definition. So now we are ready to go in with bronzer. For bronzer, I'm going to be using the Endless Summer Bronzer, and this is in Faux Tan. Looks really dark, but it doesn't look that dark on the skin. This has tanning properties in it, so it's not like a false tanner, but I think over time it's supposed to tan that area of your face. I don't really care about that. I just want to be bronzed, and this is a really nice one. It's a recently new purchase for me, so I'm going to go in with the Sephora Pro 55 for this. This is my go-to bronzer brush, and this one's pretty pigmented, so I'm going to start out a little bit slow and then build it up until I am bronzed as I want to be. So that is how we are looking with bronzer. It's a really nice bronzer. I like the tone. It's super, super blendable. Works really, really well with that face powder. It just like blends in very nicely. I went very bronzed today, all over the cheeks, a little bit of the nose, and then the forehead. But I do want to chisel it out a little bit. So I'm going to go in with the brush we use for face powder, this buffing brush. Press it along where I would normally bake, because I do still want a nice sharp look. Now we are going to go in with highlighter, and this released the same time as the bronzer. This is the Endless Glow highlighter, and this is in the shade Free. Slightly on the edge of being a little bit too dark for me, but I can definitely make it work. I'll just have to go super light on my nose and upper lip highlight, but for the rest of my face, I can definitely get away with it. And I'm going to use my Morphe R36 highlight brush to apply this. I feel like you would expect a bareMinerals highlight to be very soft, very natural, and this one isn't crazy blinding, but it definitely gives that glow that you would want in a highlight. I feel like if you're going out of the way to add the extra step in your routine, you want a highlight to be a highlight. You don't want it to be super subtle. At least that's how I feel. So I think this one gives such a pretty glow, not too insane. I wish it was just like a smidge lighter, but I get that they're appealing to more than just crazy light pale skinned girls, and this one I like to bring up right in here, kind of blend that in with my bronzer. It looks really pretty and summery. So that is how the highlighter looks. I think it looks super, super pretty, especially with that bronzer. They work really, really nicely together. And then moving on to blush, I didn't have a bareMinerals blush, but I've heard so many people talk about the Gen Nude powder blushes, so I picked up the blush in Beige for Days. It is a very nice neutral, slightly peachy blush, so we will see how I like this. I'm gonna apply it with the Luxie 504 large angle. So let's see how this applies. It goes really nicely with that highlight and the bronzer. It's a very different blush than what I would typically go for, but for more neutral looks, like if I'm doing a crazy eye, this would be a really nice, more neutral blush to go in with. So that is how the blush looks on me. Definitely very subtle. I feel like I need a little bit of pink. We'll see how the look looks in the end. Now all we have left is lip products, and then we are going to move on to setting spray, which I have a new one and I'm very excited to try. I love trying out new setting sprays. 3 of these are the Gen Nude liquid lips, and this is my favorite formula. They have the best color range for like nudes and pinks. This is the Gen Nude liquid lip in Juju. This middle one is the shade Swag, which is my go-to every single day color. This is my favorite lip color in the world. And then on the far side we have Slay, which is just a little bit lighter of a pink, and these are the 3 shades that I have, and I mix and match them all the time, wear them on their own. They are absolutely gorgeous. And these do dry down fairly matte, but they aren't a drying formula at all. They're super, super creamy. It's like wearing a lipstick, but it's more foolproof. It's just, I don't even know how to describe the formula. They are gorgeous, and for today, because it is my absolute favorite shade in the world and I haven't worn it in a while, we are going to go in with Swag, and this one does come in a mini size. You can get it for like $13. So if you're wanting to try out the formula and you like the look of this shade, I definitely recommend picking up the mini. So that is how the shade Swag looks. It is such a pretty color. I'm gonna let that dry down a little bit before we go in with the gloss. But in the meantime, I guess I can show you the gloss and swatch it next to these ones. So the gloss that I have is in the shade Sugar. Super nice nude pink. I love the applicator on this. It's a little different from the matte lips. It's a little slanted. And this is a thicker, more opaque gloss, kind of like the NYX Buttercream glosses. It's not very thin. And that there is what the gloss looks like in the shade Sugar. So you can see it goes really well with all of these, but especially goes really well with Swag. And it is thicker, more opaque, but it still has a really pretty shine to it. So while I let that lip just settle in a little bit before we go in with gloss, I picked up the bareMinerals Dew Mist Setting Spray. It says Set, Fresh Glow, Hydrate, and Refresh. That is everything that I want in a setting spray. I am a big setting spray person, but it needs to be the right one. I definitely like anything that makes me glowy and dewy and makes my skin look less powdery and more natural. And I think for a brand like bareMinerals, a nice dewy setting spray is important because most of their products are mineral powders, so you want to get rid of that powdery look. Not that you really have that with this, but nonetheless, it's nice to just minimize it and make it look very fresh and dewy. I'm just gonna spray like as much as I can. I definitely look a little more dewy and glowy. I could see that definitely being a nice midday refresher. I really like that. Okay, we're going to add the gloss on top. After applying that gloss, I just wanted to give it a more well-rounded, full look. So I went in with mascara. I used the Kat Von D Go Big or Go Home, my current favorite for my bottom lashes and blending my lashes. And then I used the Kiss Lash Couture Faux Mink Falsies in the shade Midnight. This is the final look using mostly bareMinerals makeup for my face. All of the actual face makeup was bareMinerals except for the concealer, which, as I said, I couldn't do because they just don't offer a shade light enough for me. I think this look is super, super pretty. I think that's the best way to describe it. I have my acne covered and I just feel confident and pretty. My skin looks healthy, just like kind of radiant. I'm not super dewy, I'm not super matte, but I'm just healthy looking. And I think a big part of that is the foundation powder and then the dewy setting spray. I really do enjoy. I think it added a really nice layer of dewiness and just added to the healthy looking skin. If you're gonna pick up one or two things, 100% get one of the lip products. Try the Swag Mini if you do like this color. And then I was super, super impressed by the foundation powder. So if you're gonna pick up one or two things from this video, put them on your wish list, test them when you're in store, whatever. Definitely those two would be my number two most favorite recommendations. And then really anything else. If you need a new bronzer, the bronzer's great. If you need a new highlight, the highlight's good. Everything is just good from this brand. I feel like they don't release a lot of new products. They're not super hyped, but everything that they do have is very specially curated. They know what they're doing and they do it well. So that is my full face of bareMinerals. Definitely be sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked this video and to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And as always,